How do you assess relationships or the relationships that you currently have in your life? How do you know when someone is a good friend? How can you tell? Do you even know what that looks like? Are you even a good friend? So, one of the things that I will say about this is you definitely have to assess every relationship that you have in your life because I personally believe that your relationships and the people that you're tied to can make or break the trajectory of your future. And it sounds deep, it sounds intense, and that's because it is, and it's the truth. The relationships you have and the company you keep can literally make or break your future and the trajectory of your life. I mean, I'm sure you've heard stories of people that they were in the wrong place at the wrong time, and all of a sudden, it's like their life was just derailed. And there's stories like that because the reality is your relationships matter. So how do you assess them? How do you make better choices when it comes to relationships, whether it be friendships or romantic? Right now, I'll probably just focus on friendships for today for the sake of time. So, friendships, how do you really assess them? Um, I think it's really important to understand that I like to think of the three tiers, right? So you have your mentors or people that can pour into you, teach you, or help you. Then you have your peers. These are people that are in the same, kind of like the same space as you, right? They're maybe on the same, you guys are like in the same place in life, maybe you're around the same age, maybe you're just in similar places, right? Maybe it's a friend and you're like, okay, like, wow, we both got engaged around the same time, or she's dating seriously, I'm dating seriously, we're around the same age, or oh my gosh, we're both in college together and we're going through like a similar phase of life together. And then you have the mentees or people that you pour into. um and in this way, it's kind of like your life has this balance of people pouring into you, people that are similar to you on your level, where you can kind of give and take back with each other, but you're in the same space. And then you have maybe people that, hey, you graduated college and now you have someone that's in college and they're asking you questions or they need help with something, or maybe you have a younger sibling, right? That's like prime examples of people that you can pour into. And the reason I think this distinction needs to be made is because it's okay if you're pouring into someone. It's okay if you're giving to a relationship more than what the other person can give back to you. As long as you understand, hey, this is someone that I'm investing in. Wow, I see they have a bright future. I see that they kind of need my help and guidance. And I've been through that stage of life already. So I would like to impart wisdom to them, right? It's just like an understanding of, hey, I've been there before. I can help you out in that area. And you just know, like, it's okay that they may not be able to give back in the same way, but they may just really appreciate you and you may just really enjoy encouraging that person. And then you have your peers, right? These are people that you guys are like in those similar spaces. And peers, I will say, like, you need to be mindful of your peers, especially because peers are people that, yes, you're in similar places, but you want to be sure at least that maybe they have a similar, I don't want to say a similar way of thinking, but there's somewhat of a positivity, or you guys are also like growing together. And the reason I mention this is because the pitfalls in relationships could be someone used to be a peer, but then they became almost like an anchor, or they became someone that kind of pulled you down or slowed you down. You know, maybe it was someone that, wow, we were peers back in, back in high school. And now you've reached a place in life where it's like, oh, I've grown so much. And you still see that person as a peer, but when they come back in your life, it's like something's not right. Something might be off. And it's really important to just assess this, because this is definitely the category where I think this is definitely where pitfalls come, because once again, they used to be a peer, but now there's someone that you may have outgrown. I think peers are people that, yeah, you're at the same space or the same place in life to an extent, but maybe their mindset still has not developed. They're still thinking like they're 15 or 16. And yet you're like, dag, I remember when we used to be cool and, we used to do the same things, like the same things, and maybe think in a similar way, because maybe all you did was party together, right? They were a peer, but you need to understand and know, wow, okay, they used to be a peer and I thought they were still a peer to me, like someone on equal level. But you know what? They don't seem to be changing. They don't seem to be growing at the same pace. And in some situations, maybe that could work. I don't know. But sometimes it could really be problematic, because if they're behaving a certain way, that could be a liability to you, right? That's a problem. Okay. And so I think it's really important to assess, especially your peers, see who you're around. Are they developing like emotionally? Are they becoming emotionally harmful because they're just not aware of themselves? You want to be mindful of that. And to me, this could be honestly, this could be an entire video, an entire subject within itself, because it goes so deep and there's so many layers. But you especially need to be careful when it comes to those people that you consider to be your peers, and be mindful to pick the right peers, people that are growing at the same level. Maybe you guys are exchanging ideas or helping each other out, and it's like, okay, wow, there's a mutual exchange emotionally, mentally, spiritually, I don't want to say physically, but like financially, maybe, right? Like, maybe you have that friend where you're like, oh, I paid this time, you got it next time, and they're like, yeah, I got you, and you guys are constantly exchanging in a way that's balanced, and it's like, oh, this is great, right? I think those are the things you need to look for in peers. Okay, you want like equal exchange in those areas, and that's someone you could define as a peer. And I think that's the key quality of a peer, is the equal exchange, equally beneficial to one another. Hey, we're growing together. Neither one of us are where we want to be, but hey, we're running besides each other and helping each other out, right? And then there's like the mentors, the people that are pouring into you. This is another area where you have to be very careful. Not to say that the mentees are people that, that you pour into and you can just pick anyone. No. But like I said, I think peers and the mentors, very, very important. And the reason I say that mentors are very important, because you need to be careful about who you allow to pour into you. You need to be mindful of what does their life look like, right? If it's someone that's going to pour into you, or like pour into myself, what does your life look like? Does your life bear fruit? Are you growing? Are you successful? Are you fruitful, right? In areas of life that I'm like, okay, wow, that's what I aspire to be. That's what I aspire to do. Okay, I'll give you an example. There was a woman that wanted to mentor me in real estate, but I noticed that there were a lot of areas in her life that I was like, they were very broken. And I was like, okay, how is this person going to pour into me when there's so many broken areas in her life? And I just was like, I wasn't feeling it. And no shame to her. It's just to say, it just didn't work for me. I didn't really want that person to mentor or pour into me because maybe some of her ideologies, from what I saw, something was off there, and there was areas that she wasn't really growing or developing, where I was like, how are you supposed to give me advice when I see that you're struggling in very, pivotal, like really important areas? I can't have you pouring into me. So I just was like, just be careful with that. Another thing too is mentors. This doesn't necessarily mean someone that's older than you. And if it is, you have to be very careful with that too, right? You want to make sure it's someone that is content in themselves. I'm not trying to be ageist or anything like that, but just be careful, because there's some people that may be bitter or upset. They could be the same age too, right? But they could be bitter or upset or discontent in areas of their life. And if you take them on as a mentor, or they, call themselves mentoring you, yet they're bitter or upset, they may minimize things, right? You may say, oh my God, I have this amazing idea and I really want to do this. And they may be like, oh, I already tried that. And it didn't work. I don't know. You shouldn't do that. That's why you have to be careful about who your mentors are, because you don't want anyone pouring into you, because they may pour into you bitterness. They may pour into you the anger or the resentment or the regrets that they have. Therefore, you have to be very careful about that. So I definitely think I need to do a part 2 to this and break down each of those 3 categories again. But like I said, mentors, your peers, and then you have mentees. Mentors pour into you, peers, equal exchange, give and take, similar places in life. Mentees, you know what? I see life in you. I want to give to you. I want to help you out because I was there. All right. So those are just key 3-tier relationships you can assess in your life and kind of learn how to put people in the right categories and assess them. And I definitely will do a part 2.